Okay, girls. So in our first unit on our new topic on measurement, we are going to be doing conversion of units. Okay. So before we go into conversion of units, let's do a little bit of revision of what is length, what is area, and what is volume. Okay. So if we talk about length, it's like one dimension. It's only we're going to be measuring only like what is the length of that line, for example. And if we think about what type of units, it's like millimeters, centimeters, meters, kilometers, inch, foot. Therefore, inch and foot, we don't use it. Those are American, but I found it in this graph, so I decided to leave them. Let's look about what area is. So when we're talking about area, we're talking about two dimensions now. And so like in the diagram that we have here, now we have two dimensions, 1 and 2, and we are focusing on what is in between those two dimensions. And when we're calculating the area, we have to times length times length. And therefore, the units for area are millimeters square, centimeters square, meters square, hectare. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this one, but we're going to be using this one today when we're doing our conversion of units. It's another type of unit that is used especially in land when we're talking about big distances. We usually use it hectare. Kilometer squares, and then I'm not going to mention this one because these ones are American. And the last one, it's volume. So volume, then we have three dimensions. So we have length, width, and depth. So we're talking about three dimensions, and to calculate the volume of a shape, then we have to go to length times length times length. And the units that we use are millimeters cube, centimeters cube, meters cube. This is wrong. Kilometers should be cube, girls, so please fix it in your notes. This should be cube. And then we have things like cubic inch and cubic foot. Something that doesn't come up in here, but you are familiar with this, is milliliters, liters. So that's talking about capacity. And we are also going to be dealing with those ones today when we're doing conversion of units. Wonderful. Okay, so let's work first on doing conversion of units of length. So this is the diagram that you have been taught. If you feel comfortable doing conversions with this method and it always has worked with you, then you are welcome to ignore me. I just invite you to watch the whole video because my method to do conversion of units might not look as easy for converting units of length, but will become very useful when you're converting areas and volume units, and also is going to become very useful later down in other years when you're in year 10, 11, and 12 and you're doing conversion of units in physics and chemistry. So I invite you to stay, watch it, be open to a new way of doing things, and maybe you can find useful. So I'm not, and plus this system I do like it because it takes away the question of, oh, should I multiply or should I divide? I don't remember. I get confused. When do I multiply? When I divide? So stay with me and we will do it together. Okay, so from here, what I actually use for this from this thing is to remember that 1,000 kilometers, so I start here with the big one. 1,000 kilometers is going to be equal, 1,000 meters. Sorry, girls. So 1,000 meters or 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. There we go. Then we have that 1 meter is going to be equal to 100 centimeters. And it's a good idea that you memorize these ones. Then we have that 1 centimeter. I don't know why this is not writing so neatly as it used to. 1 centimeter is going to be equal to 10 millimeters. Wonderful. So this is what I'm actually going to keep. And that's all I need to do my old examples. Only these 3 equivalent things. Wonderful. So if I'm going to start doing my examples, I have them down here. So let's start with example 1, and I'm going to explain how we do this. So example 1. It says we have 1 and 27 thousandths of a meter, and we have to convert it into centimeters. So guess what? I'm going to be using fractions. So how do we use this? I convert this first one into a fraction. So I just say 1.27 meters over 1. That's all. And then I'm going to multiply by an equivalent of the things that I had in here. But a fraction that is equal to 1. Do we agree that if 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters, or in this case I need to go into centimeters, so 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. So let me explain what I mean by a fraction that is equal to 1, because remember that we can multiply anything by 1 and it will remain the same. And the only thing that I want to do to this fraction is to convert the units, but I want it to remain equivalent. I want it to remain the same. I'm just going to change the units. That's all I want to do. So I'm going to say, and I'm going to draw this with a different color. Let's do it with blue one. I'm going to say, okay, because I want to cancel the meters, I'm going to put the meters on the bottom. And because I want my answer in centimeters, I'm going to put the centimeters on top. And then I ask, what is the equivalence between meters and centimeters? I know that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. And once I have done that, then what can I see here? I'm going to cancel the units. I'm going to cancel this meter with this meter. And my answer is going to finish to be in centimeters. So I'm going to do 1 and 27 thousandths times 100. This conversion of units is basically multiplying and dividing by powers of tens. If you have difficulty with this, I'll work with you separately, but here I'm going to do it very quickly because otherwise this video will take forever. So we know that this one is going to be equal. I move the decimal place twice, which actually that's the shortcut. I'm not moving them decimal place twice. I am pushing these digits to the next place value and the next place value. So I'm pushing the digits 2 decimal place values to the left because it's becoming bigger. So it's going to be equal to 102 and 7th centimeters. And that's going to be my answer. Let's do another example. So question 2. It's asking me to I have 0.0034 kilometers, and I need to go into meters. So I'm going to use the same system. I have much space up here. So I'm going to write the first one as a fraction. And then I'm going to times it by a fraction that is 1. So that fraction has to have kilometers in the bottom and meters in the top. How do I know that? Because I need to cancel the kilometers and I need to end up with meters. So then I write and I say, okay, I know that 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. Then I go and cancel the kilometers, and I times this one by 1,000. So that means that I'm pushing these digits to the next place values, and I have to push them 3 place values. So that will be 1, 2, 3. So the answer is going to be 3 4/10 of a meter. And that's my answer here. Okay, let's do another one. So for this one I have 76,500 meters, and I have to go into millimeters. So we're going to use exactly the same procedure. So I'm going to write the first one as a fraction. I'm going to times it by a fraction that is actually 1. Oh, I forgot to write my units. And I'm going to put meters on the bottom, in the denominator, and millimeters on the top. Okay. I wrote something here wrong. Sorry, girls.